Take that off. A2. From Las Vegas, Nevada and Indianapolis, Indiana. Welcome to Out of the Box with John and Tony. Stop singing that. Now here's the host of the show.
Bloopers.
Yeah, I should hit bloopers. I love bloopers. From Las Vegas, Nevada and Indianapolis, Indiana. Welcome to Out of the Box with John and Tony. Now here's the host of the show, Tony Scott. All right, man. Bloopers. That was the first blooper we had on today's show, Out of the Box. I'm your host, Tony Scott. How's everybody doing on this fine Monday? Hey, today we got a good show. We're talking about conspiracy theories. Now, I know we got to change to the show. We're going to do the show every other Monday, and we're going to make sure we post everything on our YouTube channel, and John's going to have that posted on the Facebook channel, so you guys don't get lost. We're not live on Facebook, but we're going to just post the time, and I'll start doing some. I'll preset all the shows up. This way, you guys will get notifications in YouTube's when this show is going to be aired. And time and all that stuff. How's everybody doing out there, man? I'm doing great. And I got my good friend John Allen on the horn in Indianapolis via Skype. John, buddy, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Sorry about the blooper out there, but kind of funny, but yeah, okay. No. Things happen, it's just life, things happen. But yeah, doing good. Always like to do the forecast real quick. Saturday, we had a foot of snow. It's Monday, and it's about 50. Go figure. That's the way it's been all season, really, all the winter season and spring. But yeah, conspiracy theories, man. I know I listed a lot on the plug, and we're not obviously going to go in detail on all of them, but yeah, we're going to hit through some of them, right, Tony? Just going to hit through those.
Yeah. We're gonna get through. Yeah, I know that. Those five things you mentioned: the JFK, Men in Black, the moon landings, and Roswell 9/11. We're gonna get through some. I tell you, we talk about each and every one of those. It's gonna be like forever.
We could, but yeah, we don't want to bore you guys. Right?
I know. I was just recently looking at. The JFK assassination today, and kind of going through some of that stuff. And you want to talk about some. Goofy stuff, and yeah, there you go. Switch that screen over there. And it, actually, I was looking at that, and come to think about how all that got played out as far as the conspiracy. And I was thinking there was a guy that was sitting behind JFK, right? I don't know his first name, but I think his last name was Hickey. Well, anyway, if you go through some of the pictures on Google Images, you see this guy holding a gun. He's from the CIA. So, and then some of the other people that were talking about it, they hear like 3 shots, right? Then they hear this lady goes. The guy who's doing the interview of this lady says, "Well, what did it sound like?" And she goes, "It was like, bam, bam, bam." I'm thinking, well, wait a minute. Let's try to tie this together. If you look at that, Lee Harvey Oswald apparently shot JFK, and from the Texas School Book Depository. He would at the 7th floor. He had a pretty good beeline aim towards JFK, right? So I think he got shot right in the back of the head, because if you look at JFK, he starts to grab his throat, right? So apparently he got a good shot. Okay, now the second shot, this guy Hickey in the back of the motorcade reaches over, because he would be in the convertible, right? He's in the back seat, leans over to grab this. I don't know what gun he grabbed, but you can see it looks like an AR or something or whatever. Okay, by the time he gets this gun up, gets the safety off, right? Guess what? I think he accidentally fired it and shot JFK in the back of the head. Go figure, right? Now there's two others. There's 3 shots. One, a pause, and then 2 shots. The second shot, and there's some. I had it on YouTube. There's a graphic that says the first shot, the second shot, and the third shot. So if the first shot, they were saying that when Lee Harvey Oswald shot out of the 7th floor, it hit the stoplight in the middle of the street, ricocheted off, and then injured somebody else. Okay, now the 2 consecutive shots after that, one would have been Hickey, who just shot JFK in the back of the head, right? Because those bullets that they had, I was watching, they were meant to explode on impact, which would answer the back of his head, or the side of his head getting blown out, because his throat never got blown out. But that would have been the 3rd shot, because in that type of rifle, that Lee Harvey Oswald, you could get that rifle for like, what could you get for like $20 off the and it just was a cheap rifle. Everybody had the access to grab that, but it was a bolt action rifle. And is there any possible way that you could the 2 consecutive shots? Is there any possible way to cock that rifle and get the second bullet in there and fire it off that fast? And I know that they, yeah, I know it'd be tough to do. So that 3rd shot would have been Lee Harvey Oswald's second shot through his throat, through the back of his neck. We're gonna have to look at that again. It's very interesting. So now, the conspiracy theory against that assassination would have been, Johnson wanted to be president. He couldn't have been president as long as JFK was alive.
That's true.
So the theory would be to cover that up, to cover the CIA pulling this gun out and shooting him in the back of the head. Now, I think the motorcade would have been going slow enough to where, did anybody ever see this guy aim at the president? Don't know. You just see in some of the pictures that this guy's got this rifle in the air. I mean, it's a still shot, so you gotta make your own assumption there. So to cover that up, they had to get Lee Harvey Oswald dead. They had to kill him off. So they actually, there was another guy, a nightclub owner, that actually came and killed Oswald. But in turn, Lee Harvey Oswald was never meant to leave that depository.
I agree with you 100%, Tony, on that.
Yeah, because it would have been an open and shut case if they would have killed Oswald on the 7th floor, and then you would never, ever hear anything else about a conspiracy theory.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, that's just something that I noticed, and I'm thinking, wow, man, that could actually be true.
Well, that was very, very good. I mean, that's very interesting. That's pretty much exactly what I'm talking about, because Jack Ruby shot Lee Harvey Oswald.
Jack Ruby, right?
I mean, how many minutes after they caught him? And the only reason why Jack Ruby would have done it, I think Jack Ruby, to add to your conversation, I think that Jack Ruby actually was paid off as well to get rid of Lee Harvey, because I think Lee Harvey would have spilled the beans.
I think he would have.
What do you think, Tony?
I think he would have. So I think it was all mob related, because Johnson has ties to the mob, Hoover has ties to the mob, so somehow there's this huge thing going on behind the scenes before that motorcade ever started. As far as he needs to be president, he wants to be president, and then okay, now that I am, let's get this stuff behind the scenes. Get rid of Oswald. Yeah. Get rid of Oswald. Let me continue my presidency. And of course, everybody's dead now. But one thing I would like to mention is there was a apparent video taken of Hickey shooting that gun, because somebody said, it wasn't her, but there was another person in and around that motorcade that heard him shoot that rifle. Go figure. Go figure. I mean, that's interesting in itself, you know. So I
Yeah,
don't
that's
know.
very, very, very interesting.
No,
And
but go ahead,
you
John.
know, yeah, Tony, you brought up some great way to open it up, talking about those points. And they talk about the umbrella man. I just heard about that yesterday. There was a guy. I guess it rained all night the night before the parade, and then it had cleared up and it was a nice day and everybody's out. Right? You see the videotapes. They're all out in just nice clothes. No rain gear. There's this one lone guy right by the procession, right where he got shot, that has dressed in black and has an umbrella. They call him the Umbrella Man. And I guess for years they thought that maybe he had a built-in rifle in the umbrella, like a James Bond type thing.
James Bond, right?
But
Right.
they kind of debunked it, that he really didn't do that. He was actually like a protester. He was protesting Hoover, I think. He was doing that as a
Right.
protest because he was mocking, I think it was
Right.
Hoover. But anyway, just an interesting point about the Umbrella Man. I never knew about it until yesterday.
Yeah, I just saw something about that, an umbrella, but I was kind of really interested in this lady because if you watch, and I'll get a link to the thing that or not the thing, but the YouTube video I saw. I'll get a link to that so you guys can actually see that. That lady who took that video, I do believe it was a video. Unknown lady. Now she's mysteriously disappeared. She's gone. So
Yeah.
that's, who knows? I mean. Conspiracy theories are just, it's a theory. It's just based on theory. What do you guys believe what you want to believe? I would, as far as I know. Do I think the president was assassinated? Well, he's dead now for sure. So we can rule the assassination part. I'll put it to you this way: Lee Harvey Oswald never killed Kennedy. I think the CIA did. And I'd leave it at that.
Yeah, and I think that Lee was definitely the fall guy. Set him up as the fall guy.
Oh,
and he may have got paid, obviously, and he may have, of course, it's all speculation. But he may have got paid as the fall guy and probably thought he's just going to they're going to fake his arrest and then he'll get his money and he'll bail and they'll hide him out somewhere. And somebody else had other plans for him.
Oh, no doubt.
And they paid Jack Ruby to kill him.
Paid Jack.
Yeah, but I don't know, Tony. Would you say that maybe the JFK is probably one of the biggest conspiracy theories that have in history?
Yeah.
Or not?
I
Probably
think
one of the biggest.
Probably, I'd say that it's controversial because there's been a lot of not hoopla, but a lot of programs, books, movies done on the conspiracy of that assassination. Not only that, there's been a lot of people who did. Because now there's a contraption that you can stick in the middle of wherever you're going to put it, right? And it swings in 360 degrees and takes a bunch of pictures. And they did that, and they modeled that entire area and surrounding area along with the depository and where the motorcade came down that street. I'm not sure what the name of the street there is. The grassy knoll area where they apparently saw, some lady says they saw some smoke and something, whatever. I'm not sure what that's all about. But they modeled a 3D mock-up of it and took trajectory, angles and all that stuff. And they didn't have that type of technology back then, but they do now. But yeah, I would say it's one of the biggest. Definitely one of the biggest.
Yeah.
I'd
also say, if you guys, I was just going to say, if you guys want to comment, do comment, subscribe on the bottom. We got on the bottom of the page. So let us know if you believe in conspiracy theories, first of all. If you do, if you don't, just let Tony and I know. We'd love to hear your input. Right, Tony?
Oh yeah, by all means. Hey, there's plenty of conspiracy theories out there, and we'll just we'll move down the list here. I think one of the most interesting things, even on conspiracy theories, is the Men in Black. What about these guys? What about these guys? These clowns? I don't know. You see them as they're portrayed. They're portrayed as they got like this plastic type skin and these red pinkish type lips and the look of nothing. And thinking, well, what is that? Men in Black.
Yeah.
I don't see. I've never. Okay, I've seen men in black, men dressed in black suits. I mean, hey, I can just go get. I'm going to do that. One of these shows is John and I are just going to dress up in black suits and with some sunglasses, and we're just
I
going to
actually
come
thought
in
about.
as the men in black.
I was just gonna say I actually thought about doing that at the beginning of this show, but
We should have, dude.
we were running late. We were running
I
late
sh-
anyway. So.
I should have put up my I call him my Joe Satriani's because I have glasses that look like Joe Satriani's old glasses he used to wear.
Yeah,
oh, man.
Yeah, those are
We
bad.
got to do that. We got to dress in these suits. Anyway,
Yeah, we'll do that.
the men in black. John, I have no clue. I've seen it on around the internet. You see people, they're dressed. You see them coming in and out of these doors. I saw something that we were talking about earlier about them coming in the hotel and leaving the hotel. But one thing I'll start with real quick. There was one of the biggest things in UFO picture history was the Solway Firth picture. So Jim Templeton gets his camera, right? And he wants to go take some pictures. So he decides to take pictures of his daughter. I got it. So they're in Solway Firth, United Kingdom, in this big grassy field, right? So he gets the camera out and, he's focusing, click. And then actually he took 3 pictures. One picture now is unheard of. Is not known of. They don't know where it's at, so I'm not sure about that. But when they get the picture back, well, guess what's behind him? It looks like somebody in a spacesuit. And I'm looking at this picture, I'm going, where did that come from? So the UFO community, they just eat that alive and then say that's a man in a spacesuit. Then I did some digging around. I'm thinking, hey, this got to be something explainable to this type of whoever was back there. It's not a spaceman. Right. It's not a spaceman, but because the figure's actually walking the other way because the arm is bent. The arm's bent like this, so it's bent backwards, and this arm is actually facing this way. So it's somebody walking the other way. The back of the head that looks like a face shield would be that's where the hair is. The white part, because they're trying to make it look like a helmet. And I will tell you, just before I tell more of the story, that Jim Templeton has been known to fake photographs. So did he fake this one? He says he didn't. But lo and behold, when they did, you could do some color. There's one of the other pictures is actually of his daughter and her mom laying down, right? Face is cut off. Kind of figure, well, why'd you cut the head off? You can only see from the neck down or the shoulders down of her kind of like laying in the grass, and she has a blue dress on, semi-colored light blue, lightish blue. So someone got that picture of the so-called spaceman and did some color correction to it in Photoshop, and guess what color that dress is? You got it, folks. Light blue. I believe that picture was a picture of Jim Templeton's wife walking away, or kind of up. It looks like maybe she was going up the hill, and because if you're looking at a camera, look through the camera lens, right? Of any camera, and focus on your subject. And if you see, you're not going to see anybody walking by because you're just not expecting that. So right. He wasn't expecting her to be there, and in Lao, she wasn't expecting him to be taking a picture of his daughter. Right. So I think that's a picture of her. But where I'm trying to get at is the Men in Black. He said he was contacted by 2 people from they call the Men in Black, number 9 and number 10. They just call themselves number 9 and number 10. They have a name, saying, we want you to take us to the place that you saw this spaceman. And he agreed and showed them. And they asked him, did you see this? Did you see this particular spaceman? He goes, well, no, I didn't see anything. And apparently they got upset or got mad, and they left him in the field. How they left him in the field is beyond me, because I don't know if he went with them in their car and then they left him there stranded. It was about 5 miles from where he worked. So, if Jim has been known to doctor photos up, okay, I guess call that a lie. Did he lie about these men in black? But that, I don't know. I really don't know. All I know is that's not a spaceman. That's probably his wife.
Yeah, that's very possible. It sounds more logical. I mean,
Oh, I know.
I try to keep an open mind, but I think that sounds pretty reasonable. I just want to add real quick, Tony, if I can, to Men in Black. That hotel one you talked about, it's on YouTube, it's on Google. You guys can find it. Just search Men in Black and hotel.
Right.
Actually, it happened in 2012, April 22nd, and it was in Niagara Falls, Canada. It was on the Canadian side. And I won't go into the details because we're not going to go into details in every one of these. But anyway, they went into question, and if you can see the video, it's very convincing. These two guys just buzz right through the security camera. They kind of almost run over people. The guys ask him, "Can I help you with stuff?" and just kind of ignore him. Go straight to the desk, talk to the person they wanted to talk to. And I guess the person that they talked to said they had real blank looks on their faces. Yeah. And then when they walked out, like they disappeared. He kind of followed them out and they were gone. So that's weird. So is there really Men in Black or not? That's a conspiracy, You guys, like I said, let us know. And Men in Black have been going, I mean, it goes back quite a ways. And it's always, I'm sure everybody knows Men in Black is a big movie made about stuff. I just want to tell them real quick that the Men in Black are always showing up after someone sees a UFO. After someone sees a UFO, they show up there. It's weird. And they tell people that have seen UFOs, you didn't see that. You know nothing. You know. So that's the big conspiracy with the Men in Black. And that's about all I got on Men in Black. I mean, let us know what you think again. I'll slide it back to you, Tony, because I know you've done a lot of research on it. A lot of work on the show. So
yeah, I got one of the biggest things, the Men in Black. I was just writing this down so I don't forget, because if I don't write this stuff down, I'm forgetting.
We are getting older.
Dan
I do the same
Aykroyd.
thing.
Now Dan Aykroyd, a good actor, a damn good actor. Part of Saturday Night Live. So he was in New York. I can't quote the street he was on. I want to say 48th and 42nd and 8th Street, somewhere around there. But I'll post that link of a short video. He talks about these Men in Black. He made an agreement with the Sci-Fi Channel to do a show called Out There. Okay, and it was about UFOs. So during that day, he received. They were going to start taping the show that actual day. Somewhere during the course of the day, he receives a phone call from Britney Spears and she wanted to be on Saturday Night Live. And of course, Dan's on the phone going, "Yeah, sure, Britney, fine. You want to be on a show, whatever." So at that time, and you can see Dan Aykroyd go through the motions of how this happened. He sees a car, he says it's a Ford car, black, I don't know if it was black or not. But some big tall guy gets out of this car and gives them what he calls a snarly or a dirty look, right? So, but he's on the phone, and as he looks at the car and the guy giving him this dirty look, and he's still talking to Brittany, he looks back and then looks back again, and it's gone. The car's gone. But guess what? After he gets back in, he gets another phone call saying the show got canceled.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
One of the most best Men in Black thing I ever heard. And Dan Aykroyd, he's not lying. I'm gonna give Dan Aykroyd credit because he's a
man of integrity, I think.
Yeah, he's not lying at all. So
what, Tony, I might have to check that out myself because I've never heard that, man. I'm interested in that.
I'll get you
That's phenomenal.
I'll get you the whole thing because Dan Aykroyd actually does. It's the little snippet's about 5 minutes long, but I think he does a whole. He does a whole. Not a, what do you want to call that? He just sits down. I think he was sitting down talking about the
like an interview.
The
Just
interview.
an interview. Straight up interview.
Yeah. Yes, and we got the
Man, that is
this
very
new studio. Oh, you guys, I meant to mention the new studio setup.
Oh,
It's not really new.
I like it.
I got rid of the black background, and I got some kudos from my roommate saying, "Hey, man, that looks a lot better than the black background. Use that." And I'm watching Rod doing the switcheroo stuff, and the call to action came up, and we want to tell you guys, like, comment, and subscribe. We try to get that. It's hard to get that stuff out. The like, comment, and subscribe stuff to you guys. It's just something that, every podcaster, they all do that. And when I go through all the show notes and John goes through his, we just kind of we kind of forget. And John's a lot better proficient than I am. I just keep talk.
Well, thank you. Well, I'm lost on the like and subscribe because you're seeing it on your end and I don't see it.
Oh, I know, right.
Yeah.
Right.
But
This is good.
your background. Yeah, I meant to tell you, your background looks good.
Yeah. I got the lights set up a little bit, a little bit better. I got an open view. I'm not going to tell everybody about the studio. It's the front room of my house. So I just told you about the studio.
Well, you know what? You're close to Area 51. I love the sign of Area 51.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I got the Area 51.
Speaking of conspiracies, right? So we got Men in Black, and
let's move on.
Yeah.
Let's move on. We'll give Rod a chance to get that graphic up there. Let's move on to the moon landings. Oh my Lord, did we ever go to the moon? That's a conspiracy in itself. I did a lot. I did some pretty good, not research, but I just sit there and watch moon landings, fake moon landings. We didn't go to the moon. We did go to the moon. Okay, well, number one is there's pictures of the craft that landed on the moon, right? Well, it looks like it was made out of aluminum foil. That thing on takeoff is going to disintegrate in the first place. That number one is too flimsy of a thing, of a spacecraft. Number two is you're never going to make it through the Van Allen belt. That's not happening. That's a severe radiation, and you would need something 6 to 8 inches thick of lead, and a little thin thing of material how they made that lunar space module is not cutting it. So the Van Allen belts is another one. Number 3 on my list for that to be a conspiracy is NASA already admitted to having all that whole old moon landing staged on a film set. So they already staged. They already said that. I'm thinking, okay, that's cool. Is there any reason why you would stage it? Not sure. I know that it's a space race against the Russians. So
yeah, exactly.
We want to be the first people up there. So they said, well, let's just get this all on the soundstage. Let's get a hold of who was one of the biggest film producers out there in Hollywood. Let's get a hold of them, get the whole stage set up. Boom, 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 boom. We're done. The Russians have seen we're on the moon. They're going to go, forget it, man. The USA's already got it. So that's probably why they staged that. You can't see any stars in the background on the moon.
Yeah, that was definitely something that was brought up.
Yeah, the stars in the background. Why can't you see any stars? I could go out at night and see a boatload of them. And you're telling me you can't see a boatload from the moon? No. Number 4. Number 4 is chunk these down. Number 4 is the shadows. And shadows are not cutting it. The way the shadows appear on the you have difference of shadows. One going one way, one going the other way. It ain't cutting it, folks. That's another one. Let's see if I can get another one for you. The space, the remote vehicle was actually it was slowed down when they filmed it on Earth. I think they filmed it out in the Arizona desert, I want to think they did. The trails that come up off the back of the tires is all Chinnagettas. It's all not right. And then, because once they sped the film up and ran it in real time, you can tell it looked much more believable being slowed down, looking like they're on the moon. Interesting stuff. Interesting.
And if I could add a couple more things to what you're saying, and those are good points. Also, I think there's one clip that you can see of the moon landing, where you can see the reflection of the lights, the stage lights, like the film lights, like what you got, umbrellas on the astronaut's helmet. You can see the reflection of the guy filming. So I don't know, with all these conspiracy theories, like, okay, what I think the bottom line is, like, what you hear from the news, everybody seems to believe it right away. Like with JFK, Lee Harvey Oswald shot him and killed him. That was it. End of story.
Right.
That's what they want you to believe. They want you to believe, like, okay, Men in Black, something else totally different. That's kind of out there. But like with the moon, we did, Apollo missions, and they landed and everything. And everybody believes it. Now, I was always on the fence with it. But the more I see, the more I kind of think it might have been fake. And here's a couple reasons why I think, real quick. For one, you talked about that belt. Very good point. They say, even the Russians admit, we've never gone to space because we can't get through that belt. We can't, And the thing is, Russia has got high technology government. So is China. And why hadn't any of these other countries put a man on the moon? None of them. We're the only ones. And why haven't we gone back? Those are just questions I have. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If it was that easy to, or if it was possible to go to the moon, and say we did go to the moon, why hasn't anybody else gone to the moon? Why hasn't anybody else gone to the moon? You know what I mean, Tony?
Right. Sorry about the dogs barking there.
Yeah, even your dog agrees. He's chiming in.
Yeah, they're chiming in. They're definitely chiming in.
So, yeah, very interesting on that moon conspiracy. And you pointed out some good things. Like I said, I would love to think that we really did go to the moon. But the more I think about it, I think we just did it to show the rest of to try to fake the other governments out. Well, we're there. It is a power thing.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say about it.
It's a space race, It's the
Cold
space War. Race. It's a space race to be the first persons on the moon. I know that if you look at some of the NASA videos of the space station, some of the astronauts even talked about saying we can only go as far as Earth's orbit. We can't go any further. But as technology increases or gets any better, they say, we in the future we expect to go further. So that came right out of an astronaut's mouth. And then, of course, there's kind of my dog's trying to go outside the door. Yeah.
Well, Tony, I was just going to say too, to add to that, if you go on the flip side of it, and say we really did go to the moon, there's people that actually think it's conspiracy as well. That we've not only gone to the moon, that we've already gone to Mars and back. Oh. Have you heard that one? People think we've already gone to Mars and back. So
I haven't heard the Mars.
It's all conspiracy. It's all conspiracy.
It's like I got people out there, you guys, even for our audience out there watching. It's all about, do you really believe it? I mean, come on. You can make a conspiracy about anything. Anything. It doesn't matter. You could go right around the corner from where I live. Go down in between the couple mountains and make sure that it's dimly the sun's starting to go down, and you could just fake anything you want to fake. It's just once you get to the point where you think it's real, someone else is going to go, hey, man, check that out. That's real. Here I got this artifact from Mars. I think the Mars thing was there was a shoe. I think they had a shoe thing from Mars. going, you said you guys don't have anything from Mars.
Now, I do think, Tony, though that we have launched probes, and those probes and stuff. I think we've launched out there. I don't think we've ever put a man on Mars. With me personally, the moon is. I'm still on the fence with that. I was a huge believer for a long time, but now this evidence is coming out. Has got me thinking about the moon. But as far as us being going to Mars rather than back, I don't think we've ever done that.
No,
that's just my own personal thoughts on it.
You know, there is that Mars One mission that they're supposed to be taking off to Mars sometime. They're launching. They were supposed to launch something today, not today, but this year, and then launch a rocket every 3 years after that. Take inhabitants to start colonizing Mars. I mean, God bless you. I mean, if you want to do it, I mean, that's fine. But I'm pretty much thinking the longer you stay in space, you start to stretch. So I don't know. 10, 15 years, 10, 15 years, you're going to be 100 feet tall. So I don't know how far you're going to get stretched out. I just don't think you're going to survive. I mean, grant you, you know, space exploration should be top priority because the Earth's not lasting. It's not lasting forever. There's going to come a time when the sun's going to engulf it and the Earth is going to burn up, and then the sun's going to die out and cool off, and then we're not going to have any more sun. So if there's human beings living at that time, you might want to think about leaving the planet, not for another planet, for build the world's largest space habitation. So you take the Star Trek, right? Gene Roddenberry wasn't stupid. You take this Star Trek and you build it as big as Earth. And there you go. Boom. There you go. And you can house a whole bunch of people, and it's just floating in space.
Well, that may be what they're working on. So anyway, real quick about the moon mission. Do you say we went to the moon or no? Yeah or no?
I don't think we went to the moon.
Tony Scott's. Okay, you say no. I'm on the fence with it. So anyway, like, subscribe and comment again, right?
Oh yeah, don't forget that. Don't forget that. We gotta keep hitting that.
Yeah, what else you got, Tony?
We got let's move on here. We got I think another big controversy out there is Roswell, New Mexico, and the UFO that actually landed there, and the government retrieved it, and I'll kind of recap of we did a show on Area 51. What is every UFO related incident? I'm not going to say every, but I'll just say 99.9% of every UFO related incident involves the government. It involved the government in Roswell in 1947. Period. They came and got what Ramsey had, that material that he had, that apparently, I think it was probably Kevlar made by the government. Or not made by the government, but was retrieved by the government, because they said they wadded it up like a piece of paper, right? And it just sprung back to life. They could not burn it, cut it, they couldn't do anything of it. So it's hard, it's tough. And it's real tough. They portrayed it as a weather balloon in Roswell. Just prior to the weather balloon, they said it was a UFO. Then they said, well, we need to go change it back to a weather balloon, blah, 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 blah. You'll see a picture of Ramsey with this, it looks like aluminum foil. I tell you, it just looks like a sheet of aluminum foil. There's somebody standing next to him. I think he's kneeling down. I don't have the picture with me right offhand. There's a piece of paper. Okay, and then they tried to decipher what was on that piece of paper, and they actually did. And I'm going to have to put that in the show notes. But it was actually, it was not what you thought it was. It was they actually, we're going to have to pull that show note up about the UFO. But about what that said, and I can't get Rod to do it because he's got enough on his hands to do it. If I had a laptop, we can pull what that actually said. But there's a note that he has in his hand, and I don't know how they got to decipher it, because when you look at it in real life, how he's holding it and how they deciphered it, they're two different images. So I don't know. I don't know if it's real or not. The note, as far as the note goes, and they said that they kind of made out a couple words, and I wish I would have. I didn't get enough time to do a lot of extensive research on this stuff. I know quite a bit about the Roswell. The UFO was, if it was actually taken to Wright-Patterson afterwards, and then from Wright-Patterson it was moved into S4, and then it was they were trying to they call it back engineering the UFO to find out how it ran. Of course, now there was who was it? Ramsey's son just passed away. He was going to say some stuff about that whole incident, and didn't get time to. Unfortunately, didn't get time to say anything about it. My take on the Roswell. It's hard. It's tough. It's tough when you can't see it. You can't go physically see it, because if I can't if somebody says something and I can't see it, it's up to me to believe it. Whether I choose to believe what they're saying, or whether I say, where's the hard physical evidence of what you're claiming? If you have none, it does not exist. If you have something, then you need to investigate that to get to the bigger part. So, like I said, we got here at Roswell, but it goes much further than Roswell in Area 51, because Roswell is tied into Area 51, which is tied into S4, which is about 10 miles from Area 51. That ties into Bob Lazar, who has semi-credible evidence, not really evidence, but he's vocally telling this stuff. He's semi-credible as far as seeing 9 objects inside S4, not Area 51. Area 51 doesn't have any UFOs. Let's clear that to you guys now. Area 51 does not have any UFOs. S4 would be the facility that has those UFOs, because there was hangar bay doors built into the side of the mountain and then disguised as the side of the mountain to where you can't tell. But when Bob Lazar was inside that, he saw those hangar doors, and he saw that. He calls it the sport model. And okay, so we'll go with I won't go into detail with that, but we go to S4 Bob Lazar. We go back to 1947, 1948. We go back to that, to Kenneth Arnold, who reported seeing 9 different flying saucers outside. He was a civilian pilot, and he's piloting his airplane above Mount Rainier, and he sees 9 silver objects. Okay, 9. He sees 9 in 1940. We'll just call it 47. Okay, and in let's call it 84. That's how many years would that be? 3. What was that? That's 14, 8. 10, 11, 12, 13, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 63 years later. Bob Lazar says 9. So I'm thinking the big number is 9. It's a big significant number for UFOs to exist.
They got 9 craft. No.
Wait, 9 craft. They do exist. That type of craft exists. Now, whether it was, I have to go outside, and I apologize to the audience, our audience. I'm going to go outside the Roswell. But I did see something outside of the airport, McCarran International Airport, of an object here, and then another one appears, and then they shoot like you can't believe how fast.
Yeah.
It wasn't 50 miles an hour. It could have been 50,000 miles an hour. I don't know, but it was awful damn fast, because I saw them, and they bolted out. So now whether that's humans back engineering the spacecraft, very well could be. Very well could be. So the Roswell incident, I don't know. Number one, if there's going to be any type of UFO activity from anybody that's far more intelligent than us, they're not going to sit there next to each other going, let's go crash on planet Earth. They're not crashing, folks. You're not going to crash. They're going to be so far advanced. Why would you crash? They're going to go, what is a crash? We're coming in, coming out, coming in, coming out. So quick, bye-bye. We're sword
So you
based.
think? So you think?
Well, they're
So you think Roswell crash was real? Not real, rather,
well. It's
or not a UFO, rather.
yeah. Well, it could be 50-50. It's something. Something definitely crashed there.
Yeah,
You
something
know.
definitely crashed there. That's for sure.
You know. You have to go back. You have to keep going. You know, without doing extensive talk about it and taking up the show.
Right.
There's really not much more I can say. All I can say is
Yeah.
there are craft. Kenneth
Yeah.
Arnold saw them. Bob Lazar saw them. Now, whether
Yeah.
Ramsey picked up this material, I don't know. I'd say if I was highly advanced, I would make something that you could go through the planet, one side of the planet and out the other side of the planet, and still keep going and be in tip-top shape.
Yeah,
That's you're not
yeah.
you're not going to get me to believe that UFOs are just crashing on a planet. Now, in that era, they were doing radar testing, and they flip a switch, and it happened to jack with the instrumentation
Yeah.
and bring the aircraft down. But I don't know. But there was
Yeah, I
more
think
than one that crashed in Roswell. One was in Roswell. The other one was in some white sands. So there's more than one. You guys got to do your research. I can't. We'd have to do a complete 2-3 part series on Roswell, and then
Yeah, we may do a show
that.
just on Roswell, on that crash. But the only thing I got to add with the Roswell conspiracy, real quick, is that the only thing I think I feel that's fishy that you already mentioned is that the U.S. Air Force came in and said, "Oh, yeah, they reported it as a crashed alien ship," and then once the Army got there and did their thing, they immediately covered that up, and they told everybody that was involved in it.
I believe it.
Mac Brazel, the guy was on the ranch and everything.
Yeah.
They told him, "You are not to say nothing." And some of these guys went to the grave before they were ready to die. Is that the Air Force told them, "You did not see this. You did not hear it. You did not do any of this. They even threatened it.
Yeah.
Kill their families."
I think
So that's how I got to that. So I think that something really did happen.
Yeah.
Anyway,
speaking of
what
you just said is, I think the Men in Black might have said something in effect to what I'm about to tell you. The desert is awful big. They would have a hard time finding your body.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go ahead and leave it at that because I heard that.
Oh yeah,
said.
definitely, Tony. Definitely.
Yeah. So UFOs are fascinating. Like I said, you want my opinion? I'm 50-50. After seeing what I saw, there's something else out there. Whether it's the scientists and the engineers that are trying to back engineer something that apparently crashed, or whether they're just making something and saying it was from people are saying world. It's from a crashed vehicle. We're trying to back engineer it. What's the advantage? What's the disadvantage? You gotta take that into account all the time. There's two sides to everything. There's the top side of the coin, and there's also the bottom of the side of the coin. So you always got to flip that thing over. And I'll just use the name of our show, Out of the Box. You got to come out of the box and figure it out, because you're not going to figure it out inside the box. Period. Cut and dry. It's never going to happen. So,
well, and you're right too, Tony. About you should never believe like mainstream media right from the get go.
No, I would never believe mainstream
media because they're fed garbage too.
I mean, one thing I will touch base on real quick is 2 days ago I saw on the news. I can't tell you what news station it was, but it was a major news network of UFOs caught on tape from the Air Force. And they're showing this UFO. It comes out of the sky from 80,000 feet down to whatever above an aircraft carrier and then takes off. Yeah. That was on the news a couple of days ago, and I would probably never be able to find that, but it is in today's news. It's circulating through the news, not like your everyday crime is not. Switch that back over, Rod. Not your everyday crime that's being portrayed on the news. Every day you're hearing something about crime, kill, killings, robberies, blah, 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 blah. The UFOs it hits the news Monday, right? So 2 months later you'll hear something else, and then maybe 2 months later hear something else. So what I think's happening, it's slowly being squashed until the UFOs will become news, just like your news you have today about robberies, killings, and crashes and all that stuff.
I agree. Main Street.
Yeah, it will become mainstream soon.
Yeah, I agree with you, Tony, and I think they're slowly getting it out there, like you just said. And real quick, I'm a believer. I've seen them and whatnot, so I know that they exist. How they travel stuff, that's a whole different show. We'll do that in another one. But
I think
we got go ahead.
I think, well, real quick, and I'm sorry to keep I really do apologize for the interruption stuff. Believe it or not, folks, those UFOs may not house anybody inside them. They may be drones.
Oh, good.
UFO drones that are just happen to be visiting, call it whatever you want, our planet, and then just maybe taking pictures, maybe getting graphical representation, maybe making it into a grid, checking our population.
Lord knows what.
They could be doing anything.
Lord knows.
I don't know. Who knows?
And
alien beings with the big head and the big eyes. I'm ruling that out of my mind. I don't believe anything.
Well, some people think those could be robots too.
Could be. They could be AIs. They could be some mock-up of
Yeah.
I mean, you think artificial intelligence would look a whole hell of a lot different than some dude with some bug-eyed alien. It would look it would look like your iRobot.
Right.
You know, remember the iRobot movie? It would look something like that.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. I think, and I think they travel interdimensional. But that'll be a whole show. That'd be a good show.
Every one of these topics
AI attached to UFOs.
Every one of these topics is a separate show.
Yeah. Yeah, and we're like Tony was saying earlier, we're just touching on, this is about conspiracies, obviously, and we're just touching on what we feel is like maybe the top 5 conspiracies, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
We've gone through all of them but the last one, right?
Yeah, check this last one.
And this is a big one, right, Tony?
This last one we're talking about, you're going to have to, there you go. The last one is the 9/11. 9/11, the towers. Yeah, we can. You take it away, John. I already sped off enough.
Oh man, I'm telling you what, 9/11. That's first of all, that was a tragedy, right? I mean, everybody knows that. But okay, I'll try to make this quick on my thoughts on 9/11. Okay, everybody knows what happened. Everybody's seen all the videos and everything. And it was terrorists hijacking planes. What we were told is terrorists hijacking planes and flying them into the buildings, and the buildings collapsed and caved. And Osama bin Laden was the one that was the mastermind behind it and financed it. And these guys from Saudi Arabia came over here and got these planes, commercial airlines, like American, and crashed them into the buildings and took them down. Okay, that sounds all good and everything. Sounds believable, right? Okay, well, supposedly these guys that hijacked the planes learned how to fly, and they only learned how to take off in Cessna aircraft. Now, I don't know a huge amount about aircraft. Tony knows quite a bit about because he works for an airline. But there's a big difference. I know I've flown in Cessnas and commercial airlines, folks, and there's a big difference between taking off in a Cessna and taking off and controlling a jet airliner. Okay, that's 2 different animals right there. Okay, yeah, they could have been trained, through a computer simulation on the jet to learn how to do that. But anyway, just to get through it real quick, there's been interviews with Navy pilots, Top Gunners, that said it would be hard for me to fly a fighter jet into the building at the angles that they took. And these guys, learned how to take off in Cessnas and maneuvered these big jets into these buildings. Okay, for one, to me, that's a conspiracy. I find it hard to believe. And I was, at the beginning of the story, I believed it. I believed everything they said. Terrorists hijacked and flew them in. I was all game. Yeah, that happened. The more that I kept researching the subject and watching things and hearing other people talk about it, I am discounting that more and more every day because I feel like there's no way those guys could have. They had to be awful damn lucky to fly those planes into those buildings like that. Number one. Okay, so number one, I don't think that it was tough for them to fly planes into buildings the way they did, and it's been witnessed on through Navy pilots and things like that. Okay, number two. When the planes hit the buildings, they were on fire for a while. Planes going to do a lot of destruction when it hits a building like that. There's no doubt about it. But they laid up there for a while. I don't know exactly what the time frame was, maybe an hour or so. And then all of a sudden you hear boom, 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 and they just come straight down. And I've seen explosions like Market Square Arena and places around there. And if you look at all this and you look at films and you can see it, guys, you guys can see all this stuff. I can't, I'm just pointing it out real quick. make the judgment yourself. But anyway, it looks like the buildings were imploded to me. At first, I didn't believe that, but now I do. They were imploded. Okay, I think the buildings were imploded. World Trade Center, the third building, World Trade Center 7. It wasn't even hit by a plane, and it just came down. And I just watched the video again on my cell phone, and you can see it. And even the firemen that were on the scene and the first responders said, "Hey, I heard crack, I heard boom, 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 boom," and then all of a sudden it came down. Okay, to add to that, what's funny, I also found out that there was a maintenance crew a month in that building at night working on the elevators. Unmarked maintenance crew, no one knew who they were, but some of the workers in the World Trade said they see them leaving in the morning as they're coming in on their shift, they're leaving. These mysterious maintenance guys were in there for a month working on elevator shafts. Could they have been planting explosives in there to take it down? Okay. And then after they analyzed it, my show notes right here, they did find the chemical thermite. I don't know if I pronounced that right or whatever, but that's what they used to implode buildings. They found traces of that chemicals at the World Trade Center sites when they came down. So, okay, all right. So you got to look at that. One of the biggest conspiracies ever. Who really took 9/11? Who really took those buildings down on 9/11? Was it a shadow government? Was it Osama bin Laden, but he used different methods? If you look at the planes that went in, it's supposed to have been the American jets. If you look at some of that footage on there, that plane's black and it's got a big thing on the bottom of it, and it looks just like a military plane. You guys can look all this stuff up yourself. And like I said, I was a big believer that those terrorists took it down. I'm not saying terrorists didn't take it down, but it didn't go the way they're telling you it went. Period. That's the end of the story, guys. I mean, you got to look at that. And I actually believe that. And it was building up, was the government building, taking them out to build up to going over to Iraq and to Afghanistan? I can see us going to Afghanistan, guys. I'm not trying to get political here. I can see us going after bin Laden if he did it. And I'm sure he had maybe part of it. I don't know. But why did we go into Iraq? I mean, it just so many, the whole conspiracy of leading up to that caused 9/11. It's just all fishy to me. It's the biggest fishy conspiracy there is. I think it's bigger than JFK. I think it's bigger than Roswell. All the ones that Tony and I went over tonight, real quick with you guys. And we hope you enjoyed it. Like and subscribe, guys. Just comment. Let us know. Do you believe in conspiracies or not? I was one of those guys that I'm not a tinfoil guy, but I'm one of those guys that I keep open-minded about a lot of things. And I would, like I said, with 9/11, I was all like, yeah, those guys hijacked the planes and went in, right, Tony? They did all that stuff. Right. But if you really look at the evidence and things that happened, I don't think, no pun intended, I don't think it fell like that. I don't think it went down that way, no pun intended. And, you know, God loved the people that, you know, on that day, because that was horrible event. And they picked the biggest time when everybody was in that building to do that. So they wanted to make a big scene out of New York back then. And anyway, guys, I think, I don't know who did it, but the way they're telling us, the mainstream media is telling us it happened. Myself, personally, I'm not buying it. That's what I got on that, Tony. You got anything to add with 9/11?
Yeah, I'd have to go through another 15
as we close out. I mean, just final thoughts.
Yeah, the 9/11, it was imploded. It's definitely, you mentioned the maintenance crew. They did go in there and set those charges. I do believe they did go set those charges. Upon further review of the video, if you look at the zoomed-in video, you'll see spurts of stuff come out down the floors that'll show you that those charges were actually set off. Building 7, I think you mentioned, there's a building that was next to the towers. The building next to the towers had nothing to do with the Twin Towers, and it was actually it just fell. It fell it just fell down. So you gotta ask yourself: was it done? Was it a government conspiracy to get that to come down to go to war? I don't know. All I know is those planes never flew into those buildings. I think that was a big mock-up. I think some of the tapes that I watched, or some of the videos I've watched in concerning the 9/11 is one of those planes actually landed. They have record of it landing. I don't have any record or proof of it landing now, but they said they have the reason to believe that one of the planes that apparently hit the building actually landed.
Well, they think those planes, the big planes that went into the buildings, were drone controlled.
I think,
and if you think about it, they or
right
set
that.
up the autopilot coordinates to go in the building. Because you think about it real quick, Tony. I know we're running out of time, but if you think about it, in order to get that jet to fly the way it did, cut that angle, and get in there that like it did, hit that building from that small target, it's hard to do in a jet. Same with the Pentagon. It almost had to be pre-programmed GPS to go there mechanically.
Yeah, you could have. The GPS is good.
Through a computer set to go in. You know,
even the Pentagon, they never flew a plane into the Pentagon. That was a missile. That was a big, nice.
I believe that as well.
Where's the wings? Where's the pieces of the airplane? Where's the tires? And those tires are huge, dude, folks. Those tires are pretty big tires. And even the gear and the metal parts of the gear and all that stuff. Where are those? So there's only one big freaking hole inside of this Pentagon building and whatever.
And the double walls and everything at the Pentagon. Yeah, I mean that almost had to be like a missile going in there.
If it's the government,
man, I tell you what. I mean, it's almost like 9/11 was a military attack.
I think it was.
I mean, was it an inside job? I mean, who did it? We don't know. We'll never know, probably. But all I know is that's got to be one of the biggest conspiracies there is in it. It's got to be.
That's true.
So far.
That's true. I couldn't. Like I said, I was saying earlier in the show, the advantage, disadvantage. What is the advantage of even a conspiracy to do that and blame it on somebody else? Blame it on Obama. Or not Obama, or Osama
Bush
bin
at
Laden,
the time.
blaming it Bush and all that. I mean, what's the big deal? I mean, I don't know. I mean, those cats flew over. Some of them were here in Las Vegas, as a matter of fact. They actually they were training themselves on Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Yeah, so, that'd still be tough to do that. I mean, maybe not impossible, but very tough to do that. And I believe the Top Gun Navy pilots when they say that.
Yeah, it would be tough to hit that. I mean, to hit it, I don't know. I'd have to get in a flight simulator. Like I have Microsoft Flight Simulator. I would have to go simulate it and get in one of them planes and then just fly it. You'd have to fly it completely out as far as possible. 30 miles is good, and then pick a trajectory. I mean, fly the backwards heading of whatever you're flying. Fly up and over the building, right? You square the building, fly up and over it. And fly the backwards heading, and you'd have to map it all out.
Well, I mean, but just think about this real quick, Tony. Not to interrupt you, but say you never step behind the pilot seat of a jet, never in your life.
Right.
Say you did the flight simulation. Say you trained for months on the flight simulation, and say all you did was learn how to take off a Cessna real quick. And you do that battle. You win over the pilot. You take him out, and you jump behind her, and you take that plane over mid-flight. And you guide that thing in the World Trade Center. Now you tell me that you got to be awfully good to do that. Well, I don't think these guys could do it.
Well, number one, you would have to know where you are GPS coordinate wise every second. And let me try to get through this. We're going to run over an hour. You would have to know where you are every second, blindfolded, in order to go through the cockpit. Once you hit the cockpit door and you overtook the crew and sat down, you would have to know where you were. Because now, all you got is instruments, and you look out the window and you see nothing but sky. Okay, let's turn the plane. I still don't see anything. Let's turn the plane over this way. I still don't see anything. So where are these towers? So now you got to find them. So I don't know. To me, it would definitely be tough. It would be hard to do. No, it would definitely be. I'm not saying it's impossible to do. But to take off and land a Cessna and then to get in a 7.5, it's completely two different things.
It is.
You have a yoke, and it's two different things. And
I think there's a lot more to all these conspiracies that we talked about, especially the JFK and the 9/11 myself, than probably we'll ever know.
That's true.
But but anyway, this has been fun talking about conspiracy theories today, Tony. I've really enjoyed it.
Oh, that's
and
fun.
Maybe we got some people to kind of think about it. I mean, like Tony and I said earlier, we just touched the surface on this to give you guys an idea that what we feel is our top conspiracies. There's thousands of videos out there. You guys can research them all. and get more details on. But please like and subscribe, and that's all I got, Tony.
Oh yeah, I appreciate that.
I'll let
Hey,
you wrap it.
yeah, no doubt. Don't forget, you guys. We appreciate you coming here. We kind of changed the show around, doing it every Monday, from every Monday to every other Monday. It's to do it every Monday is tough, and even in the type of subjects that we talk about, some of them require some extensive research to get everything down. And not only would I have to do the research, John would have to do the research, and then the show becomes a show based on somebody else's research, and then you got to sift through everybody else's research, and then everybody else has an opinion. So there's 300 million people in the United States. There's 300 million opinions, and I want to get away from that. That's why it's out of the box. We come up out of the box and do all our topics that way. So it's I know some of the topics that we're going to talk about in the future will be controversial, very controversial, and there's no evidence one way and evidence the other way to finally say, hey, listen, we got some things that are concretely solid that this is not true, and everybody else is saying it is. So there will be subjects like that, and like I said, the ones we touched base on here on the conspiracy theories is, what do you believe? I'm a big avid fan of the X-Files, and the truth is out there, folks. You can find the truth. Anyway, join us next Monday, April the 9th, where we're going to talk about got an interesting one for you, the contrails. Contrails, chemtrails. Are they spraying the air to control the atmosphere? That's going to be a good one. So you join us on April 9th for that. And as always, I'm Tony Scott. For John Allen, I'm Tony Scott. We'll see you next Monday. Anyway, we got to get you got to get over to the other screen, and that's way too slow.